And welcome to the Call to Cinema. I'm Aaron, and I'm in my study today again instead of my movie library, which will be coming back in the very near future. So watch out for that. Anybody that's been here for a while know exactly what's down in the library and how we can utilize that when we're in there. So recently, I got the April package, and I was on here last night talking about the movie Trauma, which is Klimovsky's final film from this box set. Now, I was asked and I was messaged and I was DM'd if I was going to watch this entire box set and could I talk about it when I did. So I spent most of last night and pretty much all of today to just right now, and I watched the entire set, uh, all three films. Not only that, I watched the commentaries, I watched the audio essay on here as well. Um, so I think right now I can actually give a good summation of this here release. So for those that are unfamiliar, Vinegar Syndrome put this out recently. It was in their April bundle package. You can buy it separately as well. Hey there, George. It is the first of many Forgotten Gialli box sets. As long as people buy them, everything is on Hey there, Dave. Oh, do you know why my sound sucks? Because you know what I forgot to do? Guess what I forgot to do? Thank you so much, Dave. How's that? Do I sound low now? Huh? I'm waiting for a response. Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, thanks a lot. By the way, I forgot that didn't mic up. So let me open up the this here, and then we're going to talk about set. If you watched my video last night, and not everybody has yet, uh, and please, if you're here and you're watching the video, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. Please hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. The like button goes a long way in making these videos uh, get noticed and have other people see them. And that makes our club, our cult, get bigger. So for those that haven't checked this out yet, this is a Vinegar Syndrome Forgotten Gialli box set. There was recently a Shockwaves podcast episode, which I guess we should kind of talk about before I get into this. Every time that there's a halfway to Black Friday sale, Shockwaves gets the guys from Vinegar Syndrome onto their website, onto their podcast, and they talk about releases that are that are coming out. Hey there, Brian. So they didn't say what the title, what the name of the title was. They mentioned that there is a 3D release coming up from Vinegar Syndrome, hopefully this year. There should also be another volume of the Forgotten Gialli set, being released this year as well as a Spanish horror, not a giallo box, but a Spanish horror box set coming from Vinegar Syndrome too. They said they went kind of like they went kind of crazy buying up the rights to some foreign, like Italian and Spanish, like horror films. So you're going to see a few of those in the near future for from Vinegar Syndrome. And as it is with everything, you want to keep seeing stuff like this being put out. Buy it when it comes out. That's pretty much, supply and demand. It's the law of commerce, and as long as there's a want for this, they're going to be putting out this, and I'm super excited that they're putting out this. For those that weren't here for the last time, I'll quickly show you the box set, and then we'll go into the films themselves. And please, since this is not just me talking to a screen, please feel free to speak up and ask questions, because that's how this works. If I wanted to talk to myself, this wouldn't be live. So, the Bakers, and also the Strange, but great choices, by the way, Munchies. I actually, I don't have this Strange Vice ordered right now, but my better half did order me the Umberto Lindsay, Carol Baker. Did you go for the bundle? I went for the bundle. It was only like $12 extra. So for $12 extra, you get the T-shirt, and if you're one of the first 1,000, which I'm guessing you would be, then you get the postcards from the covers of all four films as well. So interesting bundle there. So there is a sale coming out on May 22nd, May 25th for Vinegar Syndrome. We are going to look at the Vinegar Syndrome stuff after. That's why I got my computer open up right there. But first, I want to let you guys know about this because I know some of you guys didn't buy it. Some of you guys are wondering if you should buy it. And I talked about one of the films last night, but now I've gone through all the films. I've gone through the special features. I can actually talk to you more on each of these films. As for the aesthetics of the box set, I think they kind of stand for themselves. It is a gorgeous looking set. This is going to look absolutely fabulous in your collection. But let's go film by film. So I was asked, I put it on Twitter that when I did the review for Trauma last night, somebody came up and said, "Why did you review Trauma? Why is everybody looking at Trauma first? Why are they looking at the best one first, not leaving it to last?" Well, see, there's an A on this here, and it's ABC. So I did it in order. But there are three films in the set. Hey there, Hunt. There is Trauma, which is the first film in the set. This is Leon Klimitsky. We talked about this one last night. There is The Killer is One of 13, which is Aguera, right? If I could pronounce that right. With one hell of a star-studded cast, by the way, on here. And there is Police Are Blundering in the Dark, which doesn't have a star-studded cast. And we'll get into that one as well. We'll go through all three of these. I'll listen to all the commentaries and stuff on these so we can talk about that as well. For those, was everybody here for the Trauma one, or do you want to quick go over this one first? I'm wondering who wasn't here last night. Yeah, I don't recommend not buying the set and then just saying, "Oh, I'll just buy one of them down the road. I'll just buy separate films." These are all worth having, and for very differing reasons, by the way. Trauma is a Spanish giallo, and yes, giallos can be Spanish. Is a Spanish giallo, and this is probably the most. Hey, Michelle, hope you're enjoying your movie. Thank you for coming in, though. You made my night. I'm going to say that. This is probably the most giallo-esque film in the set. So when you think of a giallo, this ticks the boxes that you're thinking of. Is there going to be lots of murders in it? Yes. Is there going to be some odd, quirky characters? Yes. Is there going to be a ton of nudity? Yes, there is. This is not just a good giallo, and what really stands out is the lead. Wooden performance works for the type of film that it is, but the lead girl, Agatha Leash, is really incredible in this film, and she does a great job. Now, aside from that, there is a audio commentary by Troy Howarth, which I do recommend that you check out as well after you watch the film, of course, not before. So definitely, Christian, definitely a cool one to check out. Let me know what you think of it after you see it, because I want to. There's certain things that I talked about in my last video, and I do recommend checking that out, especially the first 20 or so minutes of it, where I go into detail, spoilery detail, just to let you know, spoilery detail in my last video on this movie here, because I had a theory on the killings of the film that weren't talked about on the disc, and wasn't really broached in the audio commentary as well. So I wanted to get in and talk about that when it was fresh in my mind last night. I really enjoyed this film. Definitely was good enough that I turned it on and I watched it a second time. Howarth's commentary is actually really, really good. Who's the actress on the cover art? That's Agatha Leash. She is actually, that's not the way you normally see her. This is her with like with dark. The transfer on this Dave is gorgeous. I will say right now, the transfers on all three of these are really great. You're not going to notice any DNR on any of these transfers. It's going to have just the right amount of green there. Hey there, Mike, doing pretty well. And I'm sitting down, so that's always a good thing. So you're going to get a good transfer. Somebody asked me what I thought about the audio on these films when I listened to them. The audio I thought was really good on all three of these films. It was clear. What really stuck out to me was that they had really good subtitling done here as well. I enjoyed that. The only thing that I haven't watched is a promotional image gallery, which I probably should, because every once in a while they throw a secret like coupon or something in those things. I don't know if they have in this one or not. I'm not saying that they did. I'm just saying that I'm going to watch it later on just to be sure. But yeah, these films, if you've ever seen any of these films, or even clips of these films in any other way, then you're going to know that I watched all three of them today. So I'm going to be talking about all three of them. All the transfers, the features, the films themselves. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It's a fun film. It's definitely. I spoke with the callouts on Instagram, who have a great like kind of fitness channel, and you can follow them with the callouts on Instagram as well. But and they agreed with me that that there's more going on in this film than is talked about and than is acknowledged. So really, let me know what you think on this one here. A lot of these are kind of a lot of giallos. You know, once you know, it's kind of a surface thing. Another Saturday night, right? But this one, strongly recommend it. Great looking transfer as well. Now let's get into the second one. This is the most unique one out of the three of them. This is the Killer is 1 of 13. I'm probably going to butcher. Do I drink or eat anything? I have tea in the background. That's what I usually have. I would say the next Marilyn. Like she's probably known for other films. But in the film Trauma, she's a brunette. Normally, a lot of people know her as a platinum blonde. She was like a sex symbol. And she did a movie called The Next Marilyn. That's one of many films that she's done. But that's probably what she's more famous for, is this kind of this almost like bleached blonde Marilyn Monroe type sex symbol, Spanish sex symbol. So you've probably seen her if you watch many Spanish films. She's been in a few. Oh, when I'm watching a movie itself, yeah. When I'm watching a movie, I usually have like chips. When I'm watching giallo, for some reason, I go for Doritos. I'll have Doritos there, and I will sometimes have like pickles, cheese, block cheese cut up, and Ritz crackers and tea. And if I'm finished my tea, then I'll have like a drink, like a cola or something like that. Whoop, slipping on my hands. But this is the most unique film out of the three. It's the longest film, running at 95 minutes, which really isn't a long time, but for a giallo, not too bad. It's got an incredible transfer. It's also got the biggest cast out of all three of these films. So if just because yeah, definitely the biggest cast. So if you, for instance, you bought any of the Jose Larraz films, if you've seen Edge of the Axe, if you picked up Arrow's movie Edge of the Axe recently, for instance, some of the actors from Edge of the Axe are in this movie right here. If you're a Nashi fan and you've seen many Nashi films, you're going to notice like there's a few Nashi actors popping up in here. There's some, it's a pretty decent cast. Actually, Nashi has kind of a smaller role in this film himself. Patty Shepard is definitely like she's the star of the film. She's worked with Paul Nashi. She's worked on a lot of stuff, but she worked with Paul Nashi at least a couple of times. Assignment Terror for sure. And I think she was in one of his first ones as well. Might have been the Vampire Woman one. But I know she was in one of his early films. We got Simone Andrew, I hope I got that right, who is a fantastic actor and very charismatic. He's one of those really charismatic actors. And you can't help but you always get your attention when he's on the screen. He has a significant part in this film. Also Jack Taylor, if you watch any Spanish or giallos, or if you're like a Western fan, Jack Taylor, hey there Ramon, as definitely, been a, it's definitely been in like been in a ton of them. Trust me, you have seen Jack Taylor. Yeah, Trauma comes in the set. That's the first one I did. Now Trauma came out in like these in 1978. The one that I'm showing you right now came out in 1973. Great transfer on this. Actually, yeah, Logan, I think you're really going to like this one. I don't know. Did you order the set? I can't remember. So Trauma, excellent. It's got some stilted acting in certain parts, but the killer is one of 13. But it's a really interesting giallo in the fact that it seems like at the beginning it seems like it's going to be completely straightforward, but by the end of the film, the way that I took it anyway, Trauma is anything but straightforward in the murders and in the killing. There's an ambiguity there that you can definitely read between the lines and see more to it than what's going on. Troy Hobart's commentary on Trauma's excellent. On this one here, they did something different. Rachel Nesbitt, who does Fragments of Fear podcast, by the way, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do so. She does oh no, not on this one. She's on the next one. Sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves. This one has a commentary by Kat Ellinger. So if you know Kat Ellinger, of course from Diabolique magazine, and she has her podcast as well. I think she works with Sam Deegan too. Like they do stuff together, and I think her and Heather sometimes do. Heather Drain do stuff as well. The biggest star to come in or out of a giallo film. See, usually when you think of a giallo film, for instance, a lot of the stars are people that have been big stars and come to Italy or Spain to actually kind of revitalize their career. And so you get a lot of big stars that'll come in there. I love House on Straw Hill, though the actress didn't love it. Actually, I gotta totally disagree on this being a mediocre one. I think this is a really well done one. And what really makes this stand out is it does go in the Agatha Christie ways. This could have been like a Midsummer Murder. Now, understand this, that this goes against some of the tropes of giallo that you're probably kind of used to. One, there is no nudity in this film. This was a Spanish giallo. It was done for a Spanish audience. And sometimes when they did those, they did a clothed and an unclothed version. But if it was one that was done mainly towards a Spanish audience and have kind of a larger international base, then what they would do is they would just do like, it would be a little bit tamer. So there's not a lot of bloody murder set pieces here. It truly relies on the story itself. It's very much reminiscent of And Then There Were None, in some ways, not in all ways. Basically, what happens here is there is a girl that invites these 13 people up to her house, and it's a big estate. It's out in the middle of the country. She at dinner that evening, she tells them that her husband, who died 2 years ago, was murdered. She knows that he was murdered, and she's pretty sure that one of the people sitting at that table in that house murdered her husband. And she invited them up there to find out who it is. Now, you would think, okay, then everybody starts getting killed off, or there's a body count of 13, and 13 people are going to get killed off. Not at all, actually. It definitely moves at a slower pace. It spends a lot of time building up the characters to the point where there's a character in this film that I was invested in, and I think if you've seen this, you probably know what I'm talking about, and who I thought was the lead of the film. I was pretty certain this character was the lead of the film. That character is one of the first two to get killed. But don't think that means you don't get to spend time with the characters, because you do, because they actually spend a lot of time introducing the characters and introducing kind of their tropes. Or if you've ever seen the movie April Fool's Day, for instance, remember when they get to the to Muffy's Island on April Fool's Day, and they're all going into the rooms and they're talking about things, and they each kind of got their own little secret. You know what I'm talking about? So there's this in here. Everybody has their own agenda, a reason aside from being invited up there to have come up there. Everybody has a dark and dirty secret, and the host knows all their dark and dirty secrets, much like in April Fool's Day, I guess, without so many deaths. But the thing that really makes it stand out, aside from the fact that it bypasses the nudity and the violent deaths, is that the actors are incredibly well versed in this, and probably because it's for a Spanish or Italian one, it's an all-star cast. I guess the standouts being Patty Shepard, Simon Andrew, and Jack Taylor, definitely. And there's like a small but kind of important role by Paul Nash. He doesn't like, it's not like he's like one of the first people cut off or anything like that. He plays Ernest, the driver and the mechanic in the house, which is a different role to see Paul Nash kind of take a back seat, but he does in this one here. But when he's on the screen, he has a presence. Paul Nash just has a presence. But I don't want to spoil this for you. It has a utterly fantastic commentary with Kat Ellinger that I do recommend. Watch the commentary, listen to the commentary after you watch the film itself. It's a joy, and the commentary puts more life into the film and definitely gives it a rewatch value. Will I rewatch this one like tomorrow? Not tomorrow. I'll watch it again. My better half is going to love this because it's a giallo that she can watch. It's a murder mystery, and it bypasses some of the misogyny that you see in a lot of giallos. So always a plus there. That's number 2. Now, number 3, this is where you got to attack. Police are blundering in the dark. By the way, there's a name drop of this title twice in the film, at the beginning and very near the end of the film. You know when you see like a lot of like slasher films, right? You're watching your Friday the 13th, and you're seeing your Halloweens and your stuff like that. I went out through all 3 of them, A&E, and I not only went through them with their commentaries and stuff as well. So I really went through them. I watched each of these twice, some of these 3 times actually. And then you get to one like you really don't know a lot about, and it's kind of like a lower budget one. This is a lower budget giallo. Hey there, Andy. This. Oh no, the police are blundering in the dark. So, police, so cops, police are blundering in the dark. So you would think that either this is about police officers that can't solve a crime, or a guy that can't solve, or a guy or girl that can't solve a crime, and the police are kind of like blundering it up, stopping him from solving the crime, but he solves it anyway. No, there are no police officers in this film until the end of the film. They're mentioned, but they're not in this film. This is definitely a lower budget giallo. It unlike the last one that I told you that had a higher budget and pretty much an all-star cast, that's not in this one here. It's directed by Helia Colombo, who I'm not really familiar with. They're all 70s. This one here is 1975. And it's and unlike the last one that was Spanish, this one's nudity. This one's like all if you see a character on the film, like 9/10 out of 10, they're definitely going to be like super naked sometime in the film. Now there is one actress in here that did stand out, and I can't remember her name right now, but I remember she was in like the Wax Mask. She was like the mom in the Wax Mask, the mom of the girl. She's been in a few films actually. She plays a maid, but an important role, not just like a secondary role. It's an important role in the film. So basically, this film here is about there's this guy, and he's supposed to pick up. I'm going to assume it's his girlfriend. They're not really clear on telling us that, but he can't pick her up the night after her car breaks down. So she gets a room at this local inn, very small inn, very cheap looking inn. And she gets murdered. Now, we see somebody pre-credit sequence get murdered as well in the film, and then we find out that models have been getting killed in this area, and he comes up to get her the next day, finds out that she's gone missing, and he wants to solve the murder. He locates a photographer out where she was taking her photos at, And after having like dinner with them, he actually gets stuck in the at their house, so he has to stay there overnight, and manages to seduce. She kind of seduces him too. Seduce the niece of the house. When he finds out, and I'm not making this up, that this photographer, by the way, he's in a wheelchair, so something's happened. We don't know. They don't tell us. But anyway, he's in a wheelchair, and he's a photographer. He photos like the nude body. That's like what he's kind of in various states of undress. It's kind of what he's famous for. But now he's working on a special secret thing, and this is reminiscent of a certain Argento film in a way, and you're going to understand when I say it. So he has a special camera. All right, are you ready for this? Like before I go any further, are you guys ready? Are you ready for this? Are you sure you're ready? He has a camera where he takes pictures, but it's a special scientific camera that he's created himself that takes pictures of the thoughts in your brain. So now they don't tell us this right away. So there's a sequence in the film where we're seeing a girl like with a device in her hand at the table, and just like, and we're seeing like a light kind of flash on the statue, and we have no idea what's going on. I really enjoyed this film. I'm not gonna. This is not a good film, but it's a fun film. It's one of those films where you're gonna sit back, and there's gonna be a few times where you're gonna be like, okay. It's fascinating to watch. I wouldn't know, not kind of like the Eyes of Laura, maybe in a very abstract way, kind of like the Eyes of Laura Mars, but it's the guy that directed the film. Well, the director of the film was not a seasoned director, and it shows. And you throw your logic way out the door. Now there are some. Don't get me wrong. If you think this is going to be a not a fun film to watch, or the no, this is a hell of a lot of fun to watch. I swear this. You just have to know going in that this was an inexperienced director. I'm not sure if he edited himself or somebody else did the editing, but because of the way that it's edited, you kind of have to wait a bit sometimes to find stuff out. Like they introduce us to the cast of characters at the at the house without introducing us to the art. It just kind of throws us into this house with without any explanation. So we're just watching these people talk. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea why we're there watching these people. They're just talking, and we're kind of being introduced to them without actually being introduced to them. It's only later on when, and not too much later, but a little bit later, once we're introduced to the main character, like fully introduced to the main character, who seems like a jerk when we first meet him, because let's face it, this girl is dead because he was sleeping around with another girl, and when he was supposed to be picking up his girlfriend, that was I'm assuming it's his girlfriend. You ask, is it a good film? Technically, no. Is it a fun film? Yes. Is this one you're probably going to put on more than once? I think so, actually. I think I will. I don't think this is a one watch for me. I know that this is going to be one of those ones that I gotta say is bafflingly good in spite of itself. The acting is not the greatest overall, but the people that do well do extremely well. It is they do some pretty good red herrings along there. I don't like to call anything junk food cinema, and I'll explain why actually, because I find that when people go around
and you'll say, well, this is like junk food, and I've used it before. That people tend to debase it or think less sometimes of the film. This is definitely enjoyable. And what's even more enjoyable, or just as enjoyable, is that Rachel Nesbitt has it does not an audio commentary, but it's an audio essay on here with with the film. And she's very honest. She definitely points out the flaws of the film. She talks about the pluses and minuses of the film. She does a great job, and I do recommend that. That's something that after you watch this one, I don't care what you think of it, listen to Rachel Nesbitt's audio essay because it is excellent. It's one of the star pieces of the set actually. But no, it's a different film. It's unique. It starts off with a girl who breaks down, and she gets out of the car. I'm watching. This is the one I watched with my better half, by the way. She gets out of the car and she sees this unknown person whose face we almost see at the beginning of the film. They almost mess it up by showing us the killer's face. It's worth buying it. This set is worth having. Like, it's really worth having. And don't think like this. Don't think this is a bad film as in you're going to be bored. You're not going to be bored watching this film. You're going to be dumbfounded sometimes, but you're never like the worst thing a film can do is bore you, or make you want to turn it off, or just lose your interest. This didn't do that. So technically, is this a well-made film? No, technically it's not a well-made film, but it works in other ways, and that is the highest praise I can give a film like this, because it does stick with you. And it definitely stuck with me. My better half. So we're watching it, and so he's chasing after with his gigantic pair of scissors, because this one here, the killer has a giant pair of scissors. And of course, the first thing he does is he rips her blouse open. So yeah, just gonna put that out there. There's one kind of neat thing in this film, in that there's an opulent and rich family, which is the photographer family. Now there's the people that run this small like bed and breakfast inn type place, and they have a son who's kind of like a simpler, he's a simpler guy. He's kind of a hulking, simpler person. I think for like a kind of a George Eastman type, maybe not as big as that though. But we get like a kind of a juxtaposition between this rich, opulent family that are completely messed up, that are definitely are not happy. There's one like hilarious sequence in the film. Got a scissor. I'm not going to cut off the blouse. Where his wife says, "I'm going to leave you. It's horrible. We're having a horrible time." And he kind of tries to get out of his wheelchair, and then he falls on his face, and he's kind of crying and trying to get up. And she kind of kneels down beside him and says, we are two unhappy people, Edmondo. We are two unhappy people." Yeah, that's on the, that's in the film. And that does make you want to watch. I don't know what's going to do. There is a bunch of suspicious people, including a very suspicious butler and a very suspicious maid who has erotomania, or a nymphomaniac. But yeah, there's a special little twist at the end, an extra little twist put in there. The killer's death is kind of hilarious because when the killer is found out, the killer, for some unexplicable reason, the killer tries to. I'm willing to bet John Waters into giallo. This really seems like a John Waters genre, man. The killer just tries to frame the one person that it would be impossible to frame. So the killer gets chased and killed by this thrasher, this like kind of like the thing that does it's farm equipment. And so the killer falls into the thrasher type thing, and you think, oh my God, he's going to be this. This is going to be bloody. This is going to be all messed up. No, they don't have much of a budget, right? So first it's up to here on him, right? Then it's around right here on him, and then when they finally go in and we see him on the ground. It's probably about here, and it doesn't look like he's been messed up too badly. You can see his feet and all that. It's but it's good. It's hilariously fun, and there are some really cool parts with it. I love the twist at the end, and it's not a twist like, oh look, there's another killer type thing. It's just a twist of the identity of two of the characters. Hey there, Cobe. Definitely check this out. Cobe. This is really cool. Actually, it's an excellent box set. All three of the films are fun. All of them are extremely different. They didn't go with the through base of like all three of these films having like a definitely common ground. The first film, Trauma, is a really fun, like tropey, sleazy giallo film with more going on underneath than you would initially assume. With a ton of nudity and violence that you would expect in a giallo film, and a decent cast, and I really like the setting in it. In the second one, you get a much more subdued film. There's no nudity. There's very little violence. But it's as the strongest story and the best cast out of all three of the films. And it has, again, another excellent commentary on it. The third film is probably the lesser of the films, as in when you're watching it, it's not a super quality one. It's like the directing, editing isn't the best, but there's something about the film that's kind of hypnotic that keeps you watching and keeps you going. It's sleazy enough, like it does have the sleaze factor. That's definitely there, which a lot of the giallo. What's the first official giallo film ever made? A lot of people will say the woman who knew too much by Mario Bava would be the first one. It was in black and white, and I had John Saxon in it, by the way. That's what a lot of people consider to be the first one. Ironically, Mario Bava, unlike Argento, was not super popular in his home country when he was alive. You asked me a couple questions, and I do apologize because I am getting back to them. I just wanted to get this through first. But I definitely recommend this. I recommend this. There are three different giallos, three that are done extremely well done. Yeah, like every one of these it's a giallo. They're mysteries, right? So every one of them is a whodunit. But the killer is one of 13. Is definitely the strongest whodunit. It's an Agatha Christie movie, is what it is. And it has kind of a slower pace. Some people will find that to be a little bit daunting, but trust me, it's worth the wait getting through it. Vice's locked room and only I have the key. It is great. It's not just is it great. It's one of the greats of all time. There were two giallos put out by Sergio Martino that I think stand above anything else that he put out in his giallo, in the giallos that he did. There is The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, which is right out now from Severin Films with a shirt and everything, t-shirt and everything. It is an amazing film with Edwidge Finch, and George Hilton. It is a fantastic giallo, and I recommend everybody check that out. Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key is another Sergio Martino film, and actually the title of the film is a throwback and a nod to something that's written in The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. But it is also an excellent giallo with an amazing cast and incredible performances, and it's just so well done. So if you've never seen Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, I definitely recommend it. New York Ripper I was asked about earlier, and I did see that comment, by the way. Is one that I think is really good. I don't think it's a complete giallo though. I don't consider the New York Ripper a giallo in the way that like Don't Torture a Duckling is giallo. Don't Torture a Duckling is one of the masterpieces of that genre, and I don't like say that lightly, but Don't Torture a Duckling is a masterpiece. But did who say something wrong? Why would you say something wrong? Of course you did. That's why I answered your question first. But New York Ripper is a hybrid of a giallo and a slasher film. It's really getting into like some of the slasher tropes then. There's certain giallos that I think kind of push over, because giallo was definitely like an inspiration for what would become the emerging slasher genre. And there are certain films that kind of cross the line between giallo and slasher, and I think New York Ripper is one of those. No, the first official giallo is the woman is the woman who knew too much. It's like I said, it was mentioned. It starred one of the stars of it, and the romantic lead is John Saxon. And definitely, Brian, that's one to look up. It's also known under another title with there's an alternate cut of it called The Evil Eye. When you buy the Arrow video edition of it, you get both versions of the film. I think with the Kuno Lober edition, you have to buy each of them separately, which is why I always recommend to buy the Arrow editions of the Bava films, because the Arrow editions will include both versions and both cuts, both scores of the film. Whereas with the Kuno Lober ones, you're going to have to go out and buy separate releases of the discs. You can buy the Girl Who Knew Too Much, the One Who Knew Too Much, but you're also going to have to buy the Evil Eye separately. You can buy Lisa and the Devil, but you're going to have to buy the alternate cut of Lisa and the Devil separately as well. I had an uncle who unfortunately passed away a couple years back from dementia at a young age, actually, who was a dead ringer for John Saxon. He's actually the dad of my cousin, who I speak about on here a lot. He was a great guy, man, like fantastic guy, gentle soul. But he was a dead ringer. I mean, I'm not talking about, oh, he looks kind of like him, or look in a certain light, he looks like John Saxon. No, the guy looked exactly like John Saxon, and it always kind of like freaked me out a bit, especially after I'd seen movies like, like Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. And then I looked at my uncle, and I'm like, okay, separate at birth. I've forgotten Giallo. Am I looking forward to I really have to look into that, actually, because I don't know. I really wouldn't know offhand. I can't think of any offhand that really stand out. I'm looking forward to the Umberto Lenzi Carol Baker box set. Did the Sweet Body of Deborah ever? I was actually looking for that today. Has the Sweet Body of Deborah ever gotten a really good release? Because I don't know. I don't have that one in my collection. That's an early Carol Baker one, pre Umberto Lenzi, actually. That I think it's pre Umberto Lenzi, pretty sure, that I don't have in my collection. And said Nightmare on Elm Street. I wish he was, man. He'd still be around. Great guy, really great guy. Giallo's, you think Giallo's in the quartet? Giallo's fun. I mean, like, in Germany. What about Germany? Oh, it did. Okay, thank you. Okay, so it's got a German release. So we don't have like a North American release for it yet. Well, a lot of the Giallos played in a lot of the theaters, especially I'm guessing like 42nd Street for sure. Where I come from, we had a smaller theater, a cinema, like a little cinema, and we didn't get a lot of the first run films. Not right away. We would get like some of the bigger stuff later. You know what we did get though? We would get Giallos. We got like Argento films, and we got early Jackie Chan stuff like that, and the Bruce Lee clone stuff. So that would show up in ours. So a lot of smaller theaters really ran a lot of Giallo stuff because it was cheaper to get. It was cheaper to import and to do. I was asked her, was the set worth the price? Amy, this set is 100% worth the price. I said yesterday, after just watching Trauma, which I really liked, by the way, that this was Cult of Cinema approved, and which was jumping the gun a bit because I hadn't seen the other two films, so probably wasn't right to do that. But I can say now, after watching all the features, after watching all three of these films, from films to packaging to special features to commentaries to audio essays, all three, the set itself is definitely Cult of Cinema approved. It is a breath of fresh air. It's different. It's unique, and I love that it's not at all what I thought it was totally going to be. I've ever run to a Giallo so bad that you would not recommend it. Well, the police are blundering in the dark. No, I'm just joking. No, I don't think, I can't think of the ones that I have actually that I wouldn't recommend. There's anything that really found, I can't think of anything that I found like super distasteful or something that I actually didn't like. Yeah, a lot of Bruce Lee. My dad actually, when he was, would say that when he would go like out of theaters, because he would go to movies a lot. What a surprise! My dad went to a lot of movies. come out of like the Bruce Lee stuff and the kind of like semi Bruce Lee, so the Bruce Lee clone stuff, and people would be coming out and they'd be doing like martial arts moves and stuff like that, kind of let these sound the film, which is actually kind of cool. Oh, I really give it another shot, Ramon. Like listen to it with commentary on. That's my thing. There's my homework for you, Ramon. Listen to The Killer is Among the 13 with the commentary on. Listen to Kat Ellinger. You know Kat Ellinger's is amazing when it comes to commentaries. Listen to her commentary. Am I getting the Criterion Bruce Lee? I definitely want it. I'm not. When's it coming out? That's going to make a big difference. If it's coming out in May, no, not right away. Will the set drop in price? Eventually. I can't see it dropping like during the sale. If it does, it's going to be like very little because it is obviously it just came out, and the sale is in 2 weeks. So I don't see it dropping in price any time in the near future. Maybe if there's any left during like the Black Friday sale, then it might drop in price. Now I do recommend if you're a Giallo fan and you want to see this type of stuff and you want to see more of this type of stuff, then I'm going to say this like right now. Buy the set because that's the one way to ensure we get more of this. And we want more of this. That's the thing. The other two films, and I'll be honest, Ramon, even if you're not a big fan of the film, give it another shot. Like did you see with this transfer? Because the transfer does make a difference. And the transfer is incredible on here. But watch, even if you've already seen the film, so just watch with the commentary on. From a lot of people on here will tell you right away that if you see the name Kat Ellinger, Sam Deegan, Rachel Nesbitt, Heather Drain, or Troy Howarth on a commentary listed on a film, yeah, then it's definitely then definitely check it out again, man. These here were really like it was if you've seen any of these films before, it's going to be a revelation seeing them well, like actually seeing the films and seeing them with with the English subtitling, which I really enjoy. Like Kat Ellinger says, like on it is that the killer is one of 13 or is among the 13. That had like I think it had a different release, maybe German or some other type of like DVD or something out there. The quality wasn't good, and there was no English on it. So if this is legit the first time that this has been in English, and this is one of the times when the box is nice, right? And the insides kind of really go together. So you get, yes, this is going to look gorgeous on your shelf, which is an amazing, awesome thing. But here's the thing. Looking gorgeous on the shelf is one thing, but being able to like take out the films and enjoy them, that's that's that sweet spot. That's what you want. And these here give you that. It gives you the sweet spot to find out exactly the films you want. And like say Ramon said, he saw the movie a few years back. He wasn't the biggest fan of The Killer is One of 13, which is fine. Everybody has different tastes and opinions. But this is going to be a new transfer. This is going to have a commentary on it where if you think, okay, the film's good, but maybe a bit slow for me, that commentary is not going to be slow. You're going to love that commentary. It is excellent. You get to talk a bit about Nashi. It talks about like giallos. It talks about Spanish giallos. She makes a case for Spanish giallos because some people say, well, if it's not Italian, is it really giallo? She makes a case for that. She talks about all the actors in the film. She takes the time to really talk about Patty Shepard's work and the other stuff that she did with Paul Nashi. She, of course, talks about Jack Taylor, who's a legend in a lot of these films. She goes through the cast, and you get to see how big of a cast the film had, and she really breaks things down really well. Rachel Nesbitt does the same thing with her audio essay on the police are blundering in the dark. She does a great job of just putting everything through there and just like really kind of like going through the film and not being afraid to talk about its flaws as well. And that's a good essay. That's a good commentary when you look at the film and you don't mind breaking it down and saying the negatives of it. Obviously, I didn't mind saying the negatives about the films on here, as along with the positive. That's important to be able to do. Well, a lot of obviously they played in Italy and Spain first. The ones like the police are blundering. Ones like the killer is one of 13. That would have played in Spain primarily. These here giallos, by the way, were mostly shown in their home countries. These three here didn't have any wide releases before this, and they didn't have any English releases, which is super important. Oh, you're going to get a good all-around appreciation on all three of these. Troy Howarth would do a great job talking about trauma and talking about the giallo genre as well. So if you haven't watched a lot of giallos, these commentaries are going to be excellent places for you to like listen to and just really kind of get more into it. Not a problem. I wanted this was requested, and I had planned to do a different video tonight. But after I watched Trauma, I said, no, I'm going to go through with it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch all these. I don't know if I've seen that one, Ramon. So I'm curious now. I'm hoping that's in the set. And I also listened to the Shockwaves podcast because I wanted to talk about the Vinegar Syndrome stuff. Dario Argento right now, Hunt, is working on a new film, and it's apparently it's going pretty well. It's a kind of it's more of a giallo police style film, and it is being scored by Daft Punk. So as a guy that is a huge fan of Dario Argento and is an enormous fan of Daft Punk, needless to say, that was a big news for me. I was super excited and stoked to hear about that. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. I'm going to turn on the computer there. We're going to also look tonight at the different stuff that's on there from Vinegar Syndrome. I actually don't know his age, Brian. I wish he's got to be getting up there. Because the sale is coming up, and those who haven't grabbed stuff, it's time to grab stuff. It'll be time to get your copy of Spookies. But there's the thing, and I'll make a case for Dracula, not as a case as being a good film. No, it's horrible. It's a horrible film. I'm not gonna even debate you on that one, Ramon. You're right. However, Argento is a guy that kind of has a bit of a tunnel vision with stuff. When he was making Dracula 3D, and this is going to be the important part, the 3D portion of it. Can I access the interviews? I was able to get. I'll check on mine too. But I did access the interviews. Let them know. You might need another copy. But the one thing but he focused on the 3D. He really focused on the 3D aspects of it, and he didn't have a big budget for that film. It's a shame because there's a great cast in Dracula 3D. It's a wasted cast in Dracula 3D, but it is a great cast. And that are unfortunately some of them are past their peak. I think the French subtitles are there, but I do actually have the because that's where they got them from. That's the only place that had them, right? Which was understandable, but I was able to access the interviews because I watched when I got it. See, I'm a huge fan of Amazon Women on the Moon. It's a favorite of mine. So when 101 Films had their sale around a year or so ago, that's one of the very first ones that I bought. And the second that I got it and I got it home, we watched the movie, then we watched the features. Well, I love the bonus skits, and then we watched the interviews and I listened to the commentary. So I'm pretty sure it worked on mine, though I would have to check again just to be sure. Although a lot of these are region free. Like, I think And by the way, for this set here, for people that are a movie on this, I can't really say each of these are amazing when it comes to special. It's commentaries and audio essay on, so it like you're good with either one of these. I'll make sure all of them. So all of these here, by the way, are region free. They're region ABC, guys. So no matter if you're in the UK or if you're in Canada, if you are in Timbuktu, there's a working machine, which is really good to know. And a lot of times when I'm talking about a film or I'm showing a movie on air, I don't take the time to let you guys know if it's region free, if there's subtitles, which I'm going to look at right now because I know some people that watch these films are hard of hearing, and that's a make or break for them. Obviously, there's going to be like English subtitles on these because these films are, they were shot in another language. Now, if you're asking me, no, I don't think. If you're asking if these are dubbed, then they're not. They're actually in the original language. So you're not going to get dubbed version of these. You're going to get like the actual films with the original language, and it is subtitled. Films are pretty easy going, so you're not going to be reading a ton of subtitling within the films. But the most is going to be definitely and Ramon's going to know this too. The Killers is 1 of 13 because that is pretty like heavy when it comes to like plot and characterization. So the only time I'll ever watch like a dub version of a film is if it's like maybe sometimes like one of those cheesy like Godzilla movies that I love so much, or if for instance or if I'm going to be if I've watched the movie 3 or 4 times and I'm going to be reviewing it. If I'm doing like a podcast, like just this podcast with Brian, or I'm going to be reviewing a movie on here. Anytime that I talk about a movie that I'm actually reviewing as opposed to just talking about, 9 times out of 10 I've watched that movie several times before I turn on the camera. So here we go. The most recent stuff that's come out is The Forgotten Gialli, The Dolly Dearest, and Pale Blood. That is that's the April stuff. I doubt that's going to be like. I'm looking at the limited edition stuff first. We'll get into some other stuff as well. I know you can't see it very well here right now. I do have the this kind of turned down to as much as I can. But when it comes to something that I really want you to see, I'll bring it up bigger on the screen so that you can actually see it. One thing that I did find out is that the one film that they don't expect to make it past the sale at all is this one right here. This is Rad. Now, Rad is a limited release for them, so basically this is not one that's going to get us a non-slip cover edition. This is not something that's going to be sold afterwards when Rad sells out, the 4K, the Blu-ray, whatever, the 4K Blu-ray edition, because this is 4K Blu-ray. So you get a 4K and a Blu-ray. But there's no like Blu-ray DVD edition of it. You get a 4K and a Blu-ray edition, but no Blu-ray DVD edition of this film. That was specifically in the rights holders, like what they said they wanted with this film. Now, Rad has been selling extremely well in the pre-orders for them. It was initially supposed to be only open for a 3-day pre-order, like the bundle was. If anybody is familiar with Vinegar Syndrome, then you know that their bundles that they put out are they'll put out like a pre-order for the bundle, usually like a few weeks before, sometimes like a month or 2 before, and they give you like 2 or 3 days, usually 3 days to pre-order that bundle, and then it goes black again. Then you can't order it anymore until the sale comes out. Rad was doing so well and was getting people looking at their website and looking at their company that had never looked at it before, because this is a Hal Needham film that hasn't been released, by the way, that they left it open. So there has been consistent pre-orders coming in for Rad. So if it's something that interests you, get it early on in the sale, because they don't expect it to last throughout the entirety of the sale. They expect this to be one of the things that goes fairly quickly. So if you're interested in it, definitely check it out and grab it. Right now it says over 500 left in stock, and with the fact that it's a 4K and a Blu-ray, they're saying that it's not gonna make it. Um, the Unusual Deadline has got a is in over 500 copies. I think you're going to be fairly safe for some of these. Now, understand that they may it may take a little bit longer during their sale time to get things, obviously, because it's going to be a big sale. People are going to be buying a lot of stuff, and it is kind of limited, like in their staff. And for some of these films here, if you're looking at some of their older films, for instance, some of their Blu-rays or DVDs that may not be here in the limited, we're going to look at those tonight, by the way. Some of those may be limited in the amount that they have in stock. And unlike other times where they would be able to like go into a factory or something and go and get some extra stock, some of these releases may not have extra stock. So if you notice a DVD or Blu-ray is getting down, they're probably jump on it if it's one that you really want. They may have extra copies, they may not. And unfortunately, that is the way it is right now. If you are familiar with the MVD visual sale that happened recently, they actually ended up having to close the sale down early because they pretty much all the stock that they could sell, they sold, and there was I think maybe 2 days left to the sale, but they had nothing left to sell. And I'm sure that's one of the last things that any company wants to do is close the sale down early when they're making a lot of money on it. A very important thing. If I was to recommend anything in the newer releases, there Troma says the Deadline's great. It's Canadian, Canucksploitation. So yeah, you gotta love that. And it's an insane movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember it being a super insane movie as well. I definitely recommend Olivia. I know that it was put out in the UK under the name Prezi. I don't, by 88 Films, I don't think that that was completely uncut. So if you want the completely uncut version of Olivia, and it's probably one of Uli Lummel's best films, if I was to go out there and say, go out on a limb and say that, then definitely check that one out. Malabimba I think is a fun film too. Hell Riders gets varying reviews. Strange Brew is a very different film, but all these films are still in the over 500 stock. It's when you get down a little bit farther, when we get into the stuff that's gone under 500, that we really need to talk about some of these releases. So I'm just the films on Stat Picks. Yeah, normally I think they do, Dave. I think they go on sale. They often go on sale as well. No, I'm not sure if they get. I don't think they do a 50% off the Staff Picks one because they have to buy them. Like those are movies that they've bought from other companies, so they can't. So they. I'm not sure. Truman, or do you know if they go on the 50%? I thought there was a percentage off, but unless like they've had it for a while, it's not usually 50% off. Like it's 50% off most of their stuff. And understand, like this one here is Justine. This is an adult title. It is on for $24.99 right now. Now, once the sale happens, that's not going to be $13. That's not going to be the price. Right here, you can see that you can't see, but like, is $34.98 is the original price. So that's the suggested manufacturer price of the film. So it will be half of the $34.98, not half of the already sale price, $24.99. So just like keep that in mind when you're looking at some releases here. I won't bring anything up until I see something that I know is under 500. Then I'll really talk about it. Candy Snatchers, I don't have. I do recommend it because I have seen the film. The Angel Collection, honestly, if you had the bones to get the box sets that Vinegar Syndrome's got, they've been batting 100 so far at the box sets. Every one of them has been fantastic. The Amityville Curse collection was incredible. And for me, I'm going to say it. A lot of people aren't going to like this, but I'm going to say it. Better than the original Amityville 3, 1 to 3 box that came out from. Yeah, half of the MSRP. Yes, that's exactly right, Dave. So, for instance, let's say, I don't think this one is going to be down like the half. It might be like 30% off. I don't think this one's going to be 50%. But if it is, then it's not going to be half of $50, right? It's going to be half of the original $69.98. So it's going to be around around $35. So always keep that in mind when you're looking at the stuff. If you're in the U.S., they often have like a lowered if Ah, try. Thank you. A manufacturer suggested retail price. So basically, and I maybe say that too fast. I'm Canadian. I talk fast. So I'll say again. So it's a manufacturer suggested retail price. So basically, if this was on, say for instance, the Angel set was on a store shelf, it wouldn't be on the $49.98 price, which Vinegar Syndrome has it as a as a discounted price right now on their website. It would probably be there for $69.98. That would only be lowered if, for instance, if if the manufacturer, like a place like Walmart, had made a deal to actually be allowed to lower the price, because they do like to keep the prices lower on their websites as opposed to in a retail store unless some kind of deal is made. Now we're there. The Anvil Curse set is the most expensive box set in their collection. It's $79.98. This one does have definitely a chance to be on for 50% off. So you're looking at around $40 for that set during the sale, around like $39.98 or something like that. Films like Berserker are selling above 500, but I really like Berserker. Unmasked Part 25, I think a lot of people are going to grab this one. It's down to 386 right now. It has a really cool slipcover, and I think people are going to notice that. And the good word of mouth that Unmasked has gotten over since it's come out has really kind of piqued people's interest in it. But I know there's people that are waiting for the sale to grab some of these releases. As I'm going through, if there's ones that you're interested in, or you like, or you want a bit more information on, some of these releases I do have, like Unmasked Part 25. I actually have that release and I have watched it. Do they charge for shipping? They do charge for shipping. Just though there is like in Canada especially, I think there's free shipping after a certain amount in the U.S. I'm not sure if there's during a sale though. That's the thing. But their shipping is good. Like their shipping is well priced, and not only that, but I'll put this out here, is that they're fast. Like they're pretty fast. Now once the movies leave from them, like the way postal services are working now, that sometimes that can be problematic. But anytime that I've ordered stuff from them, that normally it comes pretty fast. As you guys know, I pre-ordered the April bundle, and it actually came pretty fast. Do they ship to the Netherlands? That's actually a really good question, and let's find out about their shipping policies, because that's something that I haven't asked people before. But I have a lot of people on here from other countries. So yeah, they absolutely do ship internationally, and domestic U.S. orders are usually $50, and this you get free shipping. However, free shipping thresholds are disabled during sale events. But their shipping is pretty good. I think it cost me like $10 or something like that for the shipping. There, Dungeon. Shipping is definitely excellent. How much is international shipping? So international shipping right here, it's $12 for Canadian shipping. It's a flat rate, which I actually really like. International shipping is $16, which I don't think is too bad, like to ship internationally. And it is a flat rate. So if you're buying one, or if you're buying like 20, then it's usually a flat rate shipping. So that's always a good thing. That was a great question, Ramon, by the way. I'm in Canada, yeah. Oh, no, sorry. They asked me. I was going to say, I thought you knew that. But the first time I've been asked that question, and I'm utterly super stoked that I was. Here's one that I expect to do well during the sale. And that not a problem. Thank you for the question, actually. Beyond the Door 3, a great little release, and one that grew on me. I was kind of into it when I first watched it. I was like, this is probably one of the lesser ones of it. And as I watched it again, I was like, you know what, this is really growing on me. Aside from that, it's got certain embossed features on the slipcover that a lot of people are going to have like kind of an interest in having, just for the novelty of having a slipcover that has embossed. Well, we know it's embossed on the on the Beyond the Door slipcover, a certain pointy thing. But it is down to 326, and I do expect that to be one that people are going to look at during the sale. That's going to be a definite one to grab if you're looking at the limited editions. That is, maybe you've already got stuff to Secta Sinistra still over 500, so that's good. I think Beyond Evil is going to be over 500 too, but I'll check just to make sure. The Vineyard is one that's selling way better than I thought it was going to. That's down to 376, and not a bad film, but definitely a fun one. I got to get that one down the road actually. The Coder's still in over 500. Now a couple of these are adult films, so know which ones you're getting before you pick them up, because there are some adult titles in here as well. I don't mind adult titles, so obviously, because I do have a series on my channel where I'll be reviewing some adult cinema, and I will let you know ahead of time when I do those reviews. Hellmaster is still running at over 500. Hellmaster, I think John Saxon's in Hellmaster. Pretty sure he is, actually. Anything with John Saxon in it, worth getting. Play Dead. John Saxon Play Dead too? I know Von Carlo. Maybe I thought he was though. So all these are over the 500 range, so you should be pretty good with those. Mascara is the one. People always ask me, is there anything in the limited editions that's adult that's worth grabbing? Mascara for sure. I'm sure the Pink Lady is still in the 500 range, and they had an artsy month. Play Dead's an old Troma release film. I knew I saw that somewhere before. And if anyone's going to know that, a guy named Troma Nerd is going to know that. Yeah, The Passing is still... Putney Swoop is a good one if you want more of a... is down to 286. And Putney Swoop was one out of all the the more artsy titles that are out there. Putney Swoop is probably the best. It's a kind of an archer. What do you call this? I don't know if we really want to call this blaxploitation or not. A counterculture. We'll call it. Yeah, they say counterculture. We'll go counterculture. It's Robert Downey Sr. Yep, that is the dad of who you think it is. Lust in the Dust is a fun one. That is Paul Bartel, by the way. He directed that film. They still got a lot of those. Unfortunately, that's not one that is done as well. Now, Savage Harbor is one of the VSA box set, which is down to 215. If you're interested in the VSAs, Savage Harbor is one of the better kind of fun VSAs. It's not what you think it is, though. You don't expect a real action romp going in for Savage Harbor. I know it looks like it is. You see a girl running, and you see Frank Stallone and Chris Mitchum on the cover. Trust me, you're going to see a lot of Frank Stallone in this film. You're not going to see so much of Chris Mitchum, but he's going to have a kind of a subplot. And you're going to be looking at your friends after it. And you'll be doing talking a lot about avocados. Beware My Brethren has 167 copies. That's one I'm interested in. Shot is down to 311. You guys know that's my favorite slipcover. Wonder Woman is down to 157. Got that one at a store where they didn't have slipcover with it, unfortunately. Penitentiary 2. I know a lot of people still have missed out on this one here, and this one has 81 left. Don't miss out on Penitentiary 2. It's such a fun title. I mean, it's a fun title. I mean, I don't even see it here. Is it here? Oh, there we go. Let's see how far it's... Yeah, it's down to 42 already right now. That's Fleshpot on 42nd Street. That's down to 106, and that is a good title. That's an Andy Milligan title. Putney Swoop is actually an extremely underrated film, and anybody that's got it from here has actually been really impressed with the film and actually the quality of the film itself, too. Yeah, Arrow DVD. I got that Arrow DVD with Penitentiary 1 and 2. That's why I had to upgrade to the Blu-rays, because I love those films. I grew up watching them on VHS, the three of them actually. Troma's right. Fleshpot is an excellent film. People tend to move away from it because they see the adult like rating on the film. I can honestly say that there's very little adult uh, in Fleshpot on 42nd Street. It doesn't focus on that aspect of the film. It focuses on the characters and the story of the film. If you've seen the Angel film, the Angel collection, much like Angel, focuses on like Angel and all the characters around her that she meets on the street, the different like unique people, in an odd way. And I think Trauma, you're probably could back me up on this one. Fleshpot on 42nd Street does that too. It deals with these kind of odd, unique characters that are kind of a family in a weird way, like, and it's extremely well done. I'm sure Dominique is still at over 500 for sure. So is Party Line, which is not selling that well. Wacko is down to 313. I recommend Wacko, but I'll say it's not the greatest. But it's fun and there's a hell of a cast in it. It's one of those that's good to watch with a crowd. Wacko's not Graydon Clark's best film by any means. I mean, like if you're gonna get one Graydon Clark film during the sale, get yourself The Uninvited. It's the better of the two films, but Wacko is still an interesting film. I know that my friend Brian, that does the Just Distant Pure Cinema podcast, which by the way, congratulations to Brian. He's not here tonight, but I'm going to say congratulations because his Pure Cinema podcast that he does with Elric Kane was named one of the 8 movie podcasts everybody should watch, and super proud of him for that. So he's not here tonight, but congratulations, Brian. And if you're new on here, Brian does pop in here every once in a while. I want Trip the Teacher. I don't think I can afford to get anything this sale, just to let you guys know. No, not The Uninvited with Ray Milland. This is a different one. It's a kind of a monster movie, a cat mutant style monster movie. It was done by Graydon Clark. And trust me, you'll know it when you see it. It's hilarious and fun. It's got like Alex Cord is in it, and Clu Gallagher. A few big actors are in the film. Graydon Clark knew a few people, so we could get like a lot of big actors in that. Killer cat on a boat, exactly what it is. Well, it's sort of a killer cat. The cat, there's something comes. It's fun. It's really fun. So everything else here is going to be that. So let's go to the regular releases. Let's go to our releases. I'm not going to go through everything, but let's go to. I'm going to just pick a page at random. We'll go to page 3. He did a few Giallo, actually, yeah. As you can see, a lot of these here don't no longer have the slip covers, like The Killing Kind, slip covers sold out, Death by Temptation. Now a lot of these are still available without the slip covers. Some of these aren't. Like you got to actually go on the film to see if the film is still there. So like Disconnected shows up, and they actually have it in stock. See, this is Disconnected. This one's sold out completely. Like this product is out of stock, so it's still listed as a film that they did have. I don't have the Pajama Girl case, actually, and I think I've seen it, but it's been a long time. And you're right, there's Ray Milland is in that one. But some of these here, and I want to find one in particular. Like, I'm randomly going to choose something here. Let's go with, I don't know, Murder Weapon Deadly Embrace. So right now it says it's got over 500 copies of Murder Weapon Deadly Embrace here. What's the Linnea Quigley title? Linnea Quigley, Dave Dakota. It's a double feature. And I definitely recommend it, by the way. Really fun stuff. But if you see this, like any of these here, and all of a sudden, I don't know, Nightmare Sisters. It's got 394 left. So here we go. There's 394 left to Nightmare Sisters. I don't know if there's other copies of Nightmare Sisters after the 394 that they're going to have during the sale. So if Nightmare Sisters is something like you said, okay, I kind of want to get Nightmare Sisters. I've been waiting on that one for a bit, but I want to grab that one during the sale. It's not one of the limited editions that I'm picking up. It's one of the regular ones. I'll go in and look at it right away, just to be sure to see how many copies are there, because there could be a case of, well, yes, they got a bunch of others in the back that they'll put off after the 394 are done, or it could be the case of right now where stock is limited, that 394, once that's gone, that might be it for a while. When they had their Valentine's Day sale, for instance, Taboo 4 sold out almost immediately during the sale and did not come back in stock anytime after, I think it was a week or two after the sale that they actually were able to get some more of Taboo 4 in, which I still need to get before I can actually do the Taboo review that I want to do for the first 4 films in the series, because there's I said, well, maybe I can find the movie somewhere else and watch it, but no, there's features on the Taboo 4 disc that I need in order to complete the After Dark review that I'm going to do for that series. So always look into that. Always look to see how many are available. Nightmare Sisters got 394, which may seem like a lot, but when things start to get down there, I find that people panic buy. And was just mentioned, they're panic buying. And what that means basically is a movie that might be a movie that you really want, and people will see it go down to 100 or go down to like 80 something, and they'll just go and grab it right away. Am I finding, well, I watched the entire Giallo set, Cinematheque. I reviewed it actually at the beginning of this video, and I did consider it like my first actual, since I've started the Call to Cinema, this is my first Call to Cinema approved one, that I do think if you like Giallo, it is really worth looking into. All 3 films are extremely different, and I recommend that you check it out. Have a great evening there. Hopefully things are nice and safe there in Ontario. Enjoy your time, and we'll see you hopefully here again next time. Hopefully I'm not boring you too much. Hopefully you have to go do something. But definitely look into look at the numbers. It's a numbers game when it comes to a lot of these. Some of these are limited. Like this ones with the, if you want the slip covers, then go for the slipcover stuff immediately first. If there's limited stuff you're looking for, you're probably going to want to grab that first. If you've never gotten a Vinegar Syndrome release before, for instance, here is Penitentiary. This is a Vinegar Syndrome slipcover. And it's often embossed. There will be sometimes kind of this kind of the flashy kind of stuff that makes it really stand out. The sides, the lettering on the sides will be embossed as well. Slip covers will be not your regular slip covers. It's not a Scream Factory style slip cover. It's a sturdy slip cover, so it's definitely more of a lasting slip cover. And often you will even see like little things on the inside, like right here. I'm not sure if you can tell or not, but there's like red bars on the inside of the cover as well. So there's a specialness to having a Vinegar Syndrome slipcover as opposed to having another company's slipcover. There is a kind of what's the word I want to look for? A specialness, like definitely the best slipcovers in the business. Just to run another couple by really quickly because I got them on hand because there's some movies that I'm watching. The Canucksploitation film, Sudden Fury, has an amazing slipcover, by the way, and I actually really like this one right here. I gotta agree with I'll pick up the Scream Factory stuff, grab one slipcovers are there, but I don't mind if it doesn't, because often they got really flimsy slipcovers. I like the fact that these are sturdy. These are really sturdy slipcovers. Look at the cut on the back. Like it takes it to really get to see a lot of art on here. We get the embossing. Great use of color and design in here as well. And it's just solid slipcover. And they do tend to sell out, much like Spookies, which had 2 slipcovers and both of them. I think they're both sold out now. I'm not quite sure. There was this slip. Yeah, they are actually. There was this slipcover, and there's the other one which I got downstairs, which lucky enough, one of my friends here sent me. If you're here right now, thank you. And I actually got it put on display because I actually really enjoy this film. This is a really weird film. If you don't have this though, even without slipcover, really worth getting, because aside from having the film, which was a film plagued with disaster and behind the scenes turmoil, it's got a documentary about all that turmoil, and it is a fascinating documentary. It's a full feature-length documentary, by the way. And aside from that, there was a company called Vipco You in the UK are really going to know VIPCO because they put out a lot of the exploitation-y stuff and a lot of the video nasties back in the day. There is a over 2 hour long documentary on VIPCO on here as well. So definitely, yeah, 2 full-length documentaries. And that is one hell of a bonus feature. I'm happy when I get a commentary or some 15, 20-minute talking head featurettes. I'm ecstatic when I get a documentary on my in a box set. So when I get 2 documentaries, yeah, that's definitely one that I want to grab, something that I want to pick up. And if you haven't picked up Spookies, I do recommend getting it during the sale. I always say before it closes up, usually a few days before the sale happens, that website's going to close down because they're going to get ready for the sale. Go in and look at it, make a list of some stuff you want. Go to the limited editions first, check out the numbers, see exactly what you're going to want to pick up. Then just look through the site. Look through the staff picks, look through the regular films, like have like an idea of what you want. Maybe even, and this is a tricky thing, this is something that I did during the last sale. I saw a couple that were lower in stock numbers. So like pretty low. So what I did right before I knew the sale, like the place was going to shut down, I put them in my cart, and they were in my cart when the site opened up again. So I had ones that I already wanted, put in my cart, and I just put the new stuff in the cart as well. That was there, and I was ready to put in my first order. I wanted to make sure right away I had those because they were lower price. Rudy Ray Moore stuff is fantastic, Cinematheque. I enjoyed all of them. I do recommend to grab the 4 of them. Dolomite and Human Tornado are the 2 Dolomite films. It did work, actually. Try it. Hopefully it still works. It worked the last sale I was in. But the Rudy Ray Moore stuff is really Dolomite and Human Tornado are 2 films that go together. They're both Dolomite films. Petey Wheatstraw and Disco Godfather are 2 films starring Rudy Ray Moore that aren't Dolomite, but they're both by Rudy Ray Moore, and he has his own unique style. To give you an example, I do have a Rudy Ray Moore film up here, so looks like I'm pretty prepared tonight, right, guys? This is one of the Rudy Ray Moore films. This is the Human Tornado. On every one of the 4 Rudy Ray Moore releases, there is a part of a documentary called I, Dolomite. Now everybody's going to do the same thing exactly. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say anything. So they're usually around 20, 22 minutes, whatever, long interview and stuff with Rudy Ray Moore. It's part of a documentary. When you get all 4 of the Rudy Ray Moore releases, you get all parts of the I, Dolomite documentary that they did. Sneaky of them to do that, right? So the alternate artwork, which I will show you. That's not the best. It isn't one of the best scene. This is the alternate artwork, which is hilarious for the Human Tornado. Human Tornado is a lot of fun. I like Dolomite more than Human Tornado, but both of them are really fun films, and they're super crazy because it's Rudy Ray Moore. He's a comedian. So if you get a blaxploitation Rudy Ray Moore film, understand that he is a comedian, and there is definitely a comedic aspect to his blaxploitation films, including this one here, which starts off with a stand-up set, a complete stand-up set done by Rudy Ray Moore at the beginning of the film, because he wanted to get his stand-up in there as well. Again, like another fantastic release put out by the guys at Vinegar Syndrome. Who thinks I should be working for Vinegar Syndrome? Holy crap. Maybe if I lived in the US. But alas, I'm in Canada, so I get no freebies at all. All right. Before I go any further, before I end up going, or are there any things that you guys want to ask question-wise, out of the box, or even about the sale itself, or recommendation stuff, that type of thing? Because I'm going to give you this time right now at the end of the video. If there's something that you want to say that you haven't said, or a question that you might want to ask, this is the time to do it before I close up the computer and go to T-Land. I wish they knew I existed. Yeah, so I did like when was going to make this video. I tagged Vinegar Syndrome on my on saying, "Hey, making a video." So maybe one of these days, I wouldn't care. Throw me a T-shirt, something like that. Any titles that I think are must-haves at the still in stock limited editions. Um, yeah, because the thing is, like, there's a lot of things that I would consider must-have. Obviously, you know that the box sets, hands down. If you don't have the box sets, definitely the box sets. Grab them. Trauma has the same like mindset as me, I think. The lower print VSAs, if you Savage Dawn, well, like it's not a lower print one. Candy Snatchers is a great film. Bit of a dark ending. Bit of a dark film altogether, actually. Some pretty nasty people. But I actually enjoyed Candy Snatchers. Beyond the Door is one of the limited editions. Unmasked Part 25 is another one that I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. That I recommend. But a strong, if you like films and you've ever thought about like making a film or writing, for instance, then I'm going to be bluntly say it right out there. Pick up Fleshpot on 42nd Street. It has some amazing dialogue in the film, and that as a writer, as a guy that used to write, I take notice of that, and it means a lot to me. Sweet Smell of Success is one of my favorite written films out there. But I really like the way that Fleshpot on 42nd Street did the dialogue behind the character. It seemed real. It didn't seem like people were saying words that were written on a script. Thanks, Ramon. Have a great evening there, man. See you next time. It seemed like it seemed like actually people talking. And that's the best compliment I can give whenever you're writing dialogue. If you want an adult one, and mascara, actually. If you want an adult one under the limited edition, I'm going to say mascara. Because I was really taken aback by that film. I enjoy In the Cold of the Night, Shannon Tweed, obviously. And look into stuff like, if you like blaxploitation, Penitentiary 2 stuff to look into as well. Shot has one of the most gorgeous looking covers Vinegar Syndrome has ever put out. Definitely. I mean, like the newest covers on Dolly Dearest and Pale Blood are gorgeous, by the way. They're amazing covers. But if you have not seen the cover to Shot, it's got a underground comic book, Robert Crumb looking cover that really stands out. And it was this low budget action film that I think was done for like $5,000 or under with at a university. Kind of like almost like a university film, like a film student type of film. But it actually they pull it off pretty well, and that is a cover that will stand out. If you got it around in your collection and people are looking through, they're going to notice that it will stand out. And if you like the aesthetics of that, it's going to stand out in your collection. If you're a fan of the earlier stuff, like Totally Inspired the Beast, yeah, I can see that actually. If you're a fan of some of the adult titles and you're not quite sure what to go with, maybe look into the Peakorama stuff to see if the fine stuff like to kind of test the waters with some of that. They're very inexpensive. You can usually get those for around like $6 or $7 during the sale. Like that's Canadian prices too, by the way. That's not American prices. There's they have like a drive-in line which has some exploitation stuff, some adult stuff, and some horror stuff. And those are again DVD only. And that's the thing. If I can keep the spirits up, it's always a good thing. Keeps my spirits up too. You guys keep my spirits up, so that helps me out. I don't go crazy in the house, and I don't annoy my better half too much. She gets a respite from me. So there we go. We help each other. So look into that as well. In the newer again, box sets are incredible. They do an amazing job, the box sets. So I will always recommend those because I know that the more people that buy the box sets, the more box sets we're going to get from them. And I'm not going to lie, I've got a selfish reason for this. I want to see more of these. I love giallo. I love this genre. It's something that takes me away. And I want to see more of them come out. But yeah, look into the stuff. Look into the 4Ks, the Blu-rays, the stuff that the DVDs. Like, I think there was one indicator sale this year, George, but I think it was one that you know about because we talked about it on here at the time. There's probably going to be. They usually have like one or two, so I'd say probably near closer to Boxing Days. We're probably going to see the next indicator sale. So a bit of a ways away. But if there's one before that, don't worry. I will let you know ahead of time. So as soon as I know, you will know. And they have certain like go through genre, go through series. The series that they have, by the way, right here. Just to let you know, there's the Vinegar Syndrome archives. They come with a huge poster with them. So if you like posters, they're folded up. When you unfold it, it's like a big poster, big size poster. There's the Peakorama, which was I mentioned before. That's the adult titles. They're double features usually. Most of them are DVD, but they have some Blu-rays as well. There is the Driving Collection, which is straightforward to DVD stuff. I don't think there's any in print right now, but there was the 5-year sets. If any of those come back in print, I definitely recommend checking those out. Storefront Theater Collection was the ones they did, basically the Pono ones. They did the unique kind of loops and odd films, which I'll actually show you guys in probably my next video when we're talking about this stuff. Etiquette picture stuff is almost all gone, and they recently got the rights to the American Genre Film Association. So they are the exclusive distributors now. Much like, to put it in a UK perspective for my UK brethren, remember when Shameless was going to go out of business, looked like they were going out of business because they couldn't find a distributor, and then all of a sudden Arrow came up, and Arrow is now doing the exclusive distributor for Shameless films. Well, AGFA didn't have a distributor suddenly, and then they did a deal with Vinegar Syndrome. So as you can see, all the AGFA titles are now here on Vinegar Syndrome. So they're, and I'm going to guess that these will, fingers crossed, because this is the first time they've been put with the Vinegar Syndrome, may be a part of the Vinegar Syndrome sale. So, like, they had the McPherson tapes, which was the first one that they did in conjunction with AGFA. And what Vinegar Syndrome added to that one was they added a slipcover, so that AGFA would have this exclusive slipcover for the McPherson tapes. Exactly, AGFA is one that I definitely recommend. I only have 3 AGFA releases, but I love all 3 of them, and they're such fun. They're such fun ones. If I thought about it, I would have went downstairs and I got, obviously I'm not going to do that because it's going to take me a long time, and got my AGFA releases. But you can see they have like all the releases here, and like American prices, I go by American price here, is they're on for $21.99, but most of the AGFAs are $24.99, $25. That's the suggested manufacturer retail price. Manufacturer just retail price, with a couple being like with release 1 or 2 being around $29.99, and a couple of the DVDs running at $19.99. So basically, if these go on 50%, and I don't know that they are, but I'm going to assume, let's assume that they are, for instance. If these are part of the 50% sale, you can get some AGFA titles, and if you're not familiar with AGFA and you want to dive, this is the time to dive in during the sale, because if these go on for 50%, yes, please at least go in and check out at least 1 or 2 of the AGFA titles, and I will give you recommendations now, actually. And as you can see, they're most of them usually they have booklets. Sometimes they'll have like alternate artwork on the other side of the cover, and often many of the films will have an extra film, a double feature. They do, they book a ton of films, art house cinemas. Yeah, I would listen to Troma here, like in all seriousness. AGFA does a lot, and they were doing stuff for places like for Vinegar Syndrome, and they've worked with getting stuff with the Severin and stuff like that too. The guys work hard. The releases that they have, and I can easily read through, like, because there's only a few releases here, but we'll start with the oldest one, and the one that I most want in my collection right now is the Zodiac Killer. Now, Zodiac Killer is an AGFA title, and it's an odd one because the way that it was done, the guy obviously the Zodiac Killer wasn't caught. So, but he decided he was going to make a movie about the Zodiac Killer, and in a way, he was going to like solve the murder of the killer, the murder of the Zodiac Killer, while he's making the film. So I'm just going to click on that one, for instance. So here it is, right here, the cover of the Zodiac Killer. Disturbing and effective. It's one that I want, and new 4K scan on this here. Interview with the director. There's a commentary with the director. Tabloid horror trailers, linear notes, which there's going to be a booklet there as well, and a bonus movie, the Another Son of Sam. So there are 2 films there. So you get 2 films for the price of one. And if this goes on sale for half price, then you are looking at getting the Zodiac Killer, which is a $27 release for 14 bucks. So then not at all too shabby for an AGFA release. I have the Violent Years because I'm a big Ed Wood fan, and I really enjoyed this release. They did a good job this one. This one also had an extra film on it as well. It included Anatomy of a Psycho. So hey there, 4K, welcome, man. Are you getting ready for the Vinegar Syndrome sale? Did you get this, man? Because if you didn't get this, I'm just saying, man, worth picking up. Really worth picking up. I watched all 3 of the films and the features. And are you an AGFA guy? So this, The Volunteers was a movie that was written by Ed Wood. Like it's one, and Anatomy of a Psycho wasn't, but it's actually a cool little release. And as you know, guys, this is the first time that Vinegar Syndrome has had the AGFA titles completely. The one I strongly recommend, I can't, oh God, I can't recommend this one enough because it is insane. But it's insane in all the best ways. Lady Street Fighter. Renee Harmon, Lady Street Fighter. Oh yeah. Is it a bad film? Yeah. Are you gonna love it? Oh yeah. You're there's things about this movie that that are worthy of love and watching. But not only does it have Lady Street Fighter, but it also includes a bonus film, but not just any bonus film. It includes Revenge of Lady Street Fighter. So Lady Street Fighter was done in 1977, guys, starring Renee Harmon. I think she would have been about like in her 50s at the time, early 50s. If I got it, or she seems like that. But she doesn't mind like disrobing. She definitely does that. No, sorry, Renee. Yeah, Renee Harmon. Yeah. The sequel to Lady Street Fighter was 1990. So that's the time frame between the first movie and the sequel. And you get both of them on here. You get the 1975 original, Lady Street Fighter, and you get the 1990 unreleased sequel to Lady Street Fighter. And yeah, they went ahead and remastered that one too. You're also going to get like a bonus. You're going to get like You're going to get the booklet, bonus booklet. You're going to get a commentary. They pack these things full of stuff. So grab some stuff. They have a horror one called Blood Lake, which is 1999. That one was only put on DVD. The reason that was only put on DVD is because they won't put something on Blu-ray if they don't think that it's going to be improved on Blu-ray. And I don't have Blood Lake myself, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. It's one of those shot-on-video slasher films. Again, there's a ton of features on this one, including a short film, commentary. There's a Q&A from Fantastic Fest on here for those people that are missing the conventions that they usually go to this time of year. Effects is one that I really, really want, and that one is neat because pretty much done by George Romero's gang, friends of George Romero, done for like a very kind of on a very low when it comes to going to very low cost, and with Tom Savini, Joe Pilato, who was in Day of the Dead, is in it. John Harrison from Tales from the Dark Side. There is a commentary track. There's a Beastie short film, and there's an archival commentary track as well. So really interesting stuff. Anyway, there we go. I don't want to like keep you guys too long tonight because I've already kept you guys here for like 104 minutes. Hey there, Chris, you're coming in at the end, man. But go back and check out the early stuff. But if you want to know about this, yes, I watched them all. They're glorious. One is gloriously bad, but in the most awesome way. And one of them is a very different Agatha Christie-ish, like slower film. But they're all worth owning. I'm Aaron. You have a channel recommend 42nd Street Pete. Oh, cool. I will definitely check that out. I'm always looking for new channels, especially right now because I'm getting through. I'm finding that when I get the chance to watch YouTube, my better half takes the TV and watches a lot of the YouTube stuff. But when I get a chance to watch stuff, I usually try and go through channels pretty fast now. I got a bit more time, not as much as I want though, but I'm working, so that's always a good thing, right? I'm working from home. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. My voice is going, and I want to go before my voice goes. Check out the Vinegar Syndrome sale from the 22nd to the 25th. Calgary. I used to live up in Alberta, by the way. So shout out to you right there, man. I will check out your video, as everybody should. There's a lot of people on here that make some great videos, so make sure you check it. You see a name on here. A lot of these people, they just aren't names. They're just not commenters. They're fantastic video makers of their own. I'm Aaron. This is my film study room. My movie library is downstairs. We'll get to that soon. You guys are the cult of cinema. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. And for me right now, it's that time again. It's time for tea. Have a great evening. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Watch some films and get yourself some forgotten giallo.